Okay, now we're good to go. So the Ber Moshe, Debretzina Rav and Debretzina, it's too loud? No. I mean, it doesn't bother us. We're not afraid of the Zionists anymore. So, no, it's too loud over there? No. So the Ber Moshe, Debretzina Rav, he brings from his father that his father wanted to be Melamed Tzchus. Yesterday we said one Limud Tzchus, but he says a different Limud Tzchus. What's the pshat that people put shoelaces into shoes? Like, I don't know if it needs a Limud Tzchus. I must tell you. I mean, is it such a prevalent problem? This is like, what's sweeping the nation with kids at risk. They start out with taking, shoelaces and putting them into shoes on Shabbos. Half the oilam hadishkim, wie viel Menschen have laces, how many people even start out with laces, right? So I don't know. But Akapanim, the Betzini brings from his father that maybe our shoes are different. Maybe our shoes are different. Well, what does he mean? Maybe the shoes are different. He says that no, Maisa, the shoes that we have, they're already a kli. The shoes are already a kli. And yesterday I mentioned a similar svara, but he says that the pshat is that maybe it's. Excuse me. Well, let go. I'm out of my order. Sorry. The Betzina's father, he said that maybe the pshat is that the only time there's a problem of putting in the laces in the shoe is when it's something that has some level of tircha. Taking a lace which has a level of tircha and putting it in the shoe, that's what the Shulchan Aruch, the Paiskim were talking about when they said you can't put the laces in the shoes. That has some level of tircha. Ashenkin by us that have, the metal holes, the metal things, or the plastic piece, and it makes it so easy to put it through. So then it's so easy that for sure can't be considered a malacha. As if to say, how could you say such a thing as makivet patish when it's something that's done with the greatest of ease? That's what he brings from his father. This is mamish sarchi and gadol. I wasn't even going to mention it because the kasha is so obvious and blatant that I thought it would be, it's almost not beseda to bring it. It's such a pella. What's the kasha? What's the obvious kasha? What? Why?
So it's not
Yeah, very well. Makivet patish is totally in tircha. Why would makivet patish? I could ask it a little bit stronger, but makivet patish is totally in tircha. Rabbi said, putting in the moichin, putting in the stuffing into the pillow. Is it difficult to put moichin into pillow? Doesn't sound to me like it's a difficult thing. But the truth is, the kasha is much more aggressive. The kasha is a bit more aggressive. The kasha is that I think it is too loud. I think. That's why. Because I'm hearing myself. You poor guys, you have to hear me. But no, maybe he's saying face it toward them, maybe. All right. But I think you should put in earplugs because it's going to be mamish like right there. You got the mask, go like that. So it's mamish pella. It's mamish pella. Rabbi say the whole chilik, the chayra. It's like that's the pashup shot in the whole paiskim up here. The whole entire chilik between the first time and the second time is on the first time it's aser regardless, even if it's not a tircha. The second time, so we say that putting it in for the second time is mutter unless it's a tircha. So what does that mean? That means putting it in the first time is aser, even when there's no tircha. It's the most obvious thing in the world. That's the most aleph base of the sugya. So it's such a pella. I didn't want to ask it because it sounds like a Maisa. I looked into it and I see that the Ber Moshe has a brother. What was the name of the brother Ber Moshe? Chachma. Well, that wasn't his name. His name was Stern. Right? That was his Bitzal Stern, and he's the brother of the Ber Moshe. And he brings this, that my brother says this over from my father. And he says, how could it be? It's archein. It's negative the whole entire sugya. He says, how's it shaykh? That to say that it's all tali if there's tircha, and if there's no tircha, then it's going to be mutter on the first time. On the first time it's asr because that's called you assembled it for the first time. Who cares if there's tircha or not? He has the kasha. And it goes on to say like it's a ganze chiddush, a ganze shtickle Torah, which it seems like he's trying to say this is the pshat in his father, and maybe you could say it's its own pshat, but he says a whole different pshat. He says what my father meant was that a shoe has a shame of a kli already. Our shoes, Al Kapanim, it has a shame of a kli already, and the lace has a shame of a kli already. The shoe has a shame of a kli, and the lace has a shame of a kli, and that can't be makeh b'patish. If both parts have a shame of a kli, that for sure can't be that you're making. Mashenke, he says that which all the poskim were talking about was that it was lacking in the shame kli. The shoe was lacking in the shame kli. He proves it from the Rambam. This is what he goes on to say. Ein sham. It's a big doichek. It's a big doichek. What were the cases that the poskim spoke about? They talked about a belt, an avnate on a pair of pants. So what the avnate wasn't the pants weren't the kli and the avnate wasn't the only heter that the poskim came on to was they said that the belt is meant to be taken in and out and it's not going to remain, and therefore that's why it's mutter to put the belt inside the pants, because the ma'aseh it doesn't have his batless there. It's not becoming there's no oneness of it. What do you mean? It doesn't start. It's missing in the aleph base. It's just a belt is a kli and the pants are a kli and the kol tuv, right? That teretz would be a much more aggressive teretz than coming onto a chiddush and saying it's not going to remain there. And what if you have a belt that does remain there? So Elamai, it's clear that there's no such teretz. About if you have something which had a shem kli and the second thing has a shem kli, but now you're putting it together, you're making a more aggressive kli. That's about why should it be? Why in Makeh Patashvi? And then I found afterward also, I found the Kaf Chaim, the great Svardi Rav. The Kaf Chaim, he brings down from the Ben Ish Chai. I didn't see the Ben Ish Chai inside, but that's what he brings to the Ben Ish Chai. He brings down from the Ben Ish Chai that Ben Ish Chai says a Maridik Chiddush. He says, let's say you have you need a pillow on Shabbos. He says, so what do? He says, take the pillowcase, whatever, and throw in old begadim, and that'll be the pillow. And he says, you can't do that on Shabbos. Kaf Chaim brings in the Ben Ish Chai, can't do that on Shabbos. In other words, we would have thought that it's only moichin. Sounds like some Lithuanian Breslover. I'm saying Goyish Breslover. They're not called Breslover. They're called like a real Breslover from Breslov. Umanite, right? An Umanite or some anti-Semite. But that's what he says what to do. He says, go and take all these clothing, put out the Strimel, or no, he's actually from the Ben Ish Chai. So put an alta turban and an alta carpet and whatever. Put it inside this inside this pillowcase, and then you have a pillow. He says, don't do that on Shabbos. You do that on Shabbos, we throw you off a cliff. Now, he means obviously it's going to remain there or whatever, because if it's only going to be there just for Shabbos, so then fine, right? If you put your ties in there or something, you're obviously taking it out after Shabbos, so we don't see it as a spotless. We see it like you're filling up a cup, filling up a barrel. But if you plan on leaving it there and whatever, that would be a makeh b'patish. That's it. What do you see from that? It's a chiddush, but what do you see from that? Because you made a pillow. The clothing are certainly already considered kalim. It's already considered a kli. Your pillow cover in Hilchos Tumah V'Tayra is considered a kli. There's no shaila. So Vaistais, it's not tali in them. It's not tali if it has a shame kli in Tumah V'Tayra and has a shame kli in thus. Even if both of them have a shame kli. And what's the tzushtel? Mashenkin, what? Our shoes, that he's saying, but Mashenkin, our shoes are totally okay. Why? Because our shoes are not like their shoes, which we also proved is not true. Our shoes are like their shoes. And he's saying, well, our shoes, the shoe is a kli and the lace is a kli, and that's not like their shoes. Their shoes, the shoe was not a kli yet, and the lace certainly wasn't a kli yet. It's, first of all, what'd you tell me? You were watching TV last night. What'd you tell me? That over there, what do you have? In Gateshead TV, the Chavetz Chaim video, so he looked at the shoes. The shoes over there, the sheikhim, they had the shoes over there. They were regular shoes. Some of them have come back in style. Regular shoes, regular laces, right? Look like regular people. So the Chavetz Chaim had the same shoes that we had, and the Chavetz Chaim says, don't put the laces in the shoe for the first time. So I was like, there's no limitz for the first time. So now we just need eitzes, because there is no limitz for the first time. And I gave eitzes. We gave eitzes what to do if you're in a bind and your shoes have the laces were taken out of them. So if to put back the original laces, but to put back a new lace or a lace that was never in there is obviously going to be a problem. That's again the sugya diker. The Kaf Chaim derech agav is not in our sim; it's in Sim Shin Mem. Over there, the sugya of Moichin in Shin Mem, he brings down that thing about not putting begadim into a pillow and making homemade pillows. This is number one. Is that crystal clear? By saying crystal clear, yeah. Okay. Number two is I saw something which is big. I mean, a lot of the shoes today, they come with the first lace is already put in. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. Well, that's how it goes. The first lace, the first stitch. Thank you. The first stitch is already stitched in the. As I get this, that's how it goes, right? And then you have to do the rest. That's good. You have different shoes than me. What can I do? That's okay. Are you allowed to finish making the shoes on Shabbos? Are you allowed to finish lacing them on Shabbos? No. What do you say? What do you say? Mamish negeya. It's mamish negeya. It's mamish negeya thing. You know, how's it negeya? So Taka is negeya me once. Well, in the Negeya on Shabbos, I'm saying, but it could have theoretically just as well as happened, right? I stepped into a puddle, and, you know, so I came home and decided to change the shoes. I stepped into a puddle. If it would have been Shabbos, I had a new pair of shoes and I was going to put them on, right? It wasn't Shabbos, but the same thing. It could have been on Shabbos. Right? And now, and also you're staying Mashik Veruach, and the item over here, everybody here is going to be saying the same Talamat al when is Zion on What's the Shabbos? So you're all going to be saying Talamat al Sunday. It's very possible you'll step into a puddle and then what? So now you're going to put on a new pair of shoes. And what if it'll be Shabbos and you put on the new pair of shoes and the whole first stitch is fast stitched? And now you want to know, can I continue fast stitching the rest of the stitches in the? So what would you have said, Mismar? What would you have said? What? What would you say? I would have thought gefährlich, right? Gefährlich. Rabbi Nissen says, and also you, Rabbi Lieberman, you still see that Biur Halacha the other day in Shin Beis. We know there's a klal in Makeh B'Patish. The Makeh B'Patish means it's the final Gemar Malacha, but there's a final stage, which the entire stage is evil. I don't know if it's a deraisa mamish. I don't know if it's meaning. I don't know if it's a chayiv chatis mamish. I don't know if it's a chatzit shir. I don't know because the Achronim are grappling with this, right? And I don't know because I don't know anything, but I'm saying, but this is mamish something the Achronim talk about that they grapple with. It's a chatzit shir. It's definitely illegal. It is illegal to finish. You know, you have a stage, and then to do the whole stage is for sure Makeh B'Patish. To do any part of that stage is also. I would have thought there's no shaila in the world that this is usher. Do I even need to continue? It's like the most partial thing in the world. And therefore, this is usher, it's Makeh B'Patish, and it's usher. That's what I would have thought. You have a shoe. It's not wearable to get in this shlav, right? And LMI, maybe you'll be that weird guy. You know that guy, right? You'll say, there's that one weird guy who he could, let's say it's stitched on the first two, not just the first one, it's stitched on the first two, which a lot of times that's how it comes, So now, but you could theoretically, you could tie it and wear it's a weird thing to say. Why? What? People that matter wear shoes. If I say they don't matter, that person that wears a shoe like that, that's a strange way of getting attention. That's an attention-seeking strangeness, right? It's a strange way of teaching, strange thing to do, right? But I don't. What they don't? Maybe they don't know how to tie their shoes. What's the raya b'chlal? Right? What's the raya? Akapanim. The Maisa, to me, it sounds dreadful. The Pella, right? I looked around, and a lot of the Kittas farm, they all bring this is mutter if it's already started. Now it's a little evil. There's one sefer he writes all the achreinim. I looked around. There was one sefer copying out of this sefer, which copied out of this sefer. They all copy from the same sefer, right? The Orcha Shabbos in Perek Ches. In Perek Ches in Ois Samach Gimel, he says it's mutter. He doesn't say a reason. He doesn't even, he doesn't even don that there's a shayla b'chal. He says once you start, he doesn't don how many stitches even. What, the first one is enough? He writes El Yoinim, the top, no, sorry, not El Yoinim. He writes the Tachtoin, right? It's called the Tachtoin, those ones, whatever. Not Tachtoin, whatever. I don't know what it's called, but it's called something, right? The kids are, the first stitch, he writes that once it was first stitched, it's interesting. Where's Rabbi Gindi? He's not here. We lost him. He asked the other day the exact opposite. He asked, could you put in just those? According to the Orcha Shabbos, does zichernish, because once you put in those, I gotta said you can't anyways, right? But according to him, once you put in those, you already did all the Makeh B'Patish, and the rest is, what could be the svara? Maybe he has some type of a svara that once you did those stitches, the rest is just like, K'may that I tie the shoe and it's allowed. So too, just, finishing. I can't even understand what I'm saying. So I don't, what? The big army boot. Yeah, that taka, it's a very normal thing in the Yeshiva Shevelt and for the Sefer Orcha Shabbos and his clientele. So, not here. Could be. But Akapanim, it's mamish pella. It's a pella. Yeah, for the army, I also don't think, the army, what do? They what? And they take it out each time, right? Yeah, they take it out each time. Right. Yeah, and so I can find, and that for sure is mutter because that's not, doesn't meant to last. And what I don't know. If I say to do this on Shabbos, Isser Gomer Mamish, I think it's an Isser Deraisa. Isser Deraisa. What? No, we always spoke about that. You can't just take it out after Shabbos. We explained that's like either we finished the product and then he disassembled it. That's like every time, everything. That's a pella. Oh, it's such a pella. It's mamish a pella. It's a pella. No, but mamish a pella. No, it's like a pella because he brings it, another sefer brings it, and one sefer writes all the achronim bring. So I looked at all the achronim. They all are copying from Kula Miroya Echas Nidnu. It's such a tema. It's a tema. I don't know. It's a very, very big mistake. I actually called the author today, to one of the authors, Akapanim, to ask him the Shaila Ben Astarim, and he told me that he's gonna look into it. He doesn't remember what he wrote there. He says he's gonna look into it, and to me, it's a Tamer Rabbah. Maybe I'll tell you what he says on Sunday, but it's a Tamer Rabbah. Tamer Rabbah, as an Ad Kedei Kach, if you have the Sefer, you have to write on the side, it's Tzarchian. It's Tzarchian ve'ein. No, don't write Tzarchian, because Tzarchian sounds like it's a kasha. You have to write Chalila ve'ein linoy ve'ein lasas kein. No, it's mamish. It's a Tamer Rabbah. It's a Tamer Rabbah. It's a market of Patich Amiti Deraisa Belishum Shaila Belishum Suffolk. It's not even a Shaila. Okay. I would go all the way to the last stitch. What do you mean? Even maybe to the last stitch. Why not? If to the last, I have a little bit of a suffix. If you get all the way and that last stitch is, I don't know if that's not completed because that's not how people wear. What's the lumdus of why? I should have tried it today. What's the reason why? See, I don't have that many laces holes. I only have 3. So when you have 3, I think you need all of them. I only have 3. When I mean 3, I mean 3 and 3. 3 on each side. I think when you have 3 on each side, I think you need all of them, right? Because if you only do 2, it's not going to go. But there's some chevra, they have like 4 and 6 and 8 and whatever. So you see with 3 you can get by. Haraya Kallus. Right? So I don't know what happens when you would do 3. What happens if you would do 3 and you didn't do the 4th, or you do 4 and you didn't do the 5th? Would Kallus still be makbid and screaming makbid patish? I don't know. Why not? It makes it better. It probably is more comfortable. I don't know. What? Tighter. I don't know. To me, it's a weird thing. I don't know. That's a weird thing. No, it's a weird thing. No? What? That could be. Okay. I hear. Rabbi say sometimes. No, Rabbi say. No, premise. It's mamish. I don't know. It could be that. No, I don't know. I'm chayshid that psak. I'm chayshid that psak is almost together a sefer sheina muga. No, it's mamish. Somebody's going to read it and he's going to make a mistake. No, it's mamish. Later, I don't know. I told him to please be in touch with me, and he said we'll talk after. I guess after Shabbos. I don't know. Later, but I don't know. Akapanim, where were we? So it's a problem. No, he's asking, what about like on sneakers? So some chevra, they don't do the last one on the sneaker. Okay, but you're not wearing sneakers on Shabbos. So what's huh? No, little kid. It's mamish nigay. But why the kid doesn't have Shabbos shoes and Shabbos sneakers and things like that? He also should have Shabbos shoes. The kid, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, now let me get weiter, by side. Let me get weiter. Now, I have another ha'ara here. Oh, I just spoke about your Shaila, Rabbi Gindi. Right? Okay, but don't worry, it could be much more awkward. You know that, right? Sorry, Velcro's a mutter. To put the Velcro in the first time, but that's already attached. Rabbi say, I think once she's already attached to the shoe on one side, and you're just like buckling it into the same shoe, it's already attached. Learn really that's a problem. What? Yeah, Learn that's a problem. Like the Kittel case that you guys were talking about, it's already attached. It's already attached. Learn that's a market part. Now, Rabbi say, what? You want to say? No. I say that what? It's not really. Just started. You're dangerous. You're a dangerous person. You're a dangerous person because you made me get nervous for a minute. You're a dangerous person. When something is sewn on, so then that becomes one mamish. Here, I'm in the process of the finishing process of making this item. It's like saying like I half sewed it on. Thank you, Rabbi Shem. It's like I half sewed it on, and now I finished the sewing. It's no. Wait, Rabbi say, Rabbi say, So someone asked a very good question yesterday. I want to explain 2 things. First of all, I said yesterday that the sheet of the Mishnah Berurah, when it comes to tircha, I said the Mishnah Berurah's shita is that when he explains what's the problem of putting something back in the second time with tircha, I said that the Mishnah Berurah goes with the shita of makeh bepatish. Dahainu, if something is a tircha to put back in, it's difficult to get it back in. Let's say yesterday we spoke about the sunglasses or glasses, to pop it back in with ease. So then that's mutter. If it's something that's difficult to put back in, so I said that's a tircha. What's the problem of tircha? It's a megala that obviously this is not just disassembled, it's broken. And now you're putting it back. It's kivyachol, you're fixing it. That's how we explained yesterday. I said yesterday that's the Mishnah Berurah. Maisa, it's not the Mishnah Berurah. I think I made a mistake. If you look in the Mishnah Berurah doesn't say that. Mishnah Berurah just says, he says mamish like the words in the Magen Avram. Where's the Mishnah Berurah? His lashon is in Sivkat. There. Where's the Mishnah Berurah? Which one?
No.
Chaf. Mishnah Berurah says, no, that's not the one. Is that it? Also, the tzarich toirach. Yeah, no, but he doesn't explain it. Doesn't he have another one where he says, maybe in Shin Mem. Just says like a very powerful lashon. Now maybe that one also, but you just said that also. But let's see. No, it could be right. That's the one. He says his lashon is here. He says if the nekev is rachav, it's aser. If it's the first time, sorry, even if it's not the first time, because shema yekshor ubimakim that the nekev is tsar. If the hole is very very thin and it's hard to get the shoelace through. Afilu that you're not going to come to tie it. It's aser ditzarech toirach because you need to be tareach. Now, a simple person reads Mishnah Berurah like myself. He says here because you have to do a tircha. What's a tircha? To get that thread into the hole when it's difficult is tircha. Now, just to give you a little bit, the graz, which the Mishnah Berurah had open on the table because he brings them here twice on this page. The graz, when he says this, he says like the lashon of the Taz. He says it needs tircha. If it's a second time and it's difficult, let's say the thread, it's difficult and it needs tircha. So he says it's tircha, and his lashon is tircha, and therefore it's aser mishum tikkun kli. He fears ice, and therefore you're fixing something. If you can't say it's reassembly, you're obviously fixing it. The lashon of the Taz, aser mishum tikkun kli. Somebody reads the Mishnah Berurah, there is a blatant hashmata over here. There's a blatant Mishnah Berurah. Bedavka left it out. It sounds like the Mishnah Berurah, which the Achreinim already medayik. I saw the Tila of David that the Magen Avram says, what's the Isra over here? The Isra is tircha. There's 3 Isrim in the sugya. There's a shema yekshor. You have something that you might come to sew, or a tie, or boina, or whatever. Then there's makeh bepatish, the first time. And then there's stam tircha. I kept telling you tircha is a gila, an expression of Mishnah Berurah's mashma, that there's a new Isser of tircha, like a drabanan. Drabanan, it's a tircha. Now, this is very difficult to why this is tircha more than something else. It's very difficult. Why are we worried here about tircha? And what now is going to go into this gather of tircha? So I want to tell you a hafladik and nafkamina. So I saw on that page over there, I don't think I wrote down where. But in Dorcha Shabbos, he writes like this. He goes that the Isser of putting back the second time, right? Taking let's say, whatever, all the things we're talking about, the sunglasses, right? Putting it back the second time when there's tircha. So he says, so what's the Isser when there's tircha? Like the grass. Right, the grass. That when you're putting it back the second time, it's called it was broken, and now you fixed it because it takes tircha to put it. So he says over there, so beside, that's all, if the whole entire Isser of tircha is makeh b'patish, it's only on something that's shaykh makeh b'patish. Okay? So for example, yesterday I told you yesterday that I hold that if you take a pillow and you put it into a pillowcase, or you take a sheet and you put it onto the thing, you put the quilt and you put it into the quilt cover. So I told you yesterday that l'chayra, it's mutter. Why is it? I told you the first time is mutter. It's always mutter. Why? Because I explained yesterday it's not considered that. Here you have a totally finished product, legamre, which is a totally usable product, legamre. And when you're putting that on, it's not you're doing anything to the product. You're just doing something fakir to block the product from getting dirty. You're doing something so that you shouldn't have to wash it like this. It'll be easier for you to wash or whatever. That's the lumdus of why a person. But it's a totally usable product, and therefore it's not a makeh b'patish at all. It's like a Michael Ben. It's like a stomach v'yafla. I explained it yesterday. I'm not going to go into it now. Bakapanim said it has nothing to do with the sugi makeh b'patish. So he has his reason. We explained yesterday why you're allowed to take a blanket and put it into the quilt cover, whatever. So he says, lefi this. Let's say you want to don now. Let's say you want to don. Can I take the quilt and put it in on Shabbos? He says, of course you can put it on Shabbos. He says, why? Because if the first time you're allowed to put it on Shabbos, mitzad, it's not makeh b'patish. So then the second time it's mutter, even if you tell me there's a tircha. But what is tircha? Tircha is an expression of something being makeh b'patish, something which is so tareach, even on the second time it's makeh b'patish. Okay? But Rabbi say, he just gave us a great limud. He gave us a great limud. I agree with this statement 100%. That means what happens if you learn that pshat in the sugya is not midin makeh b'patish? That the tircha in the sugya is not midin makeh b'patish. The tircha in the sugya is a pashit isser atzmi. Don't be tareach on Shabbos. Now, I don't know, and I'm the first to admit, I don't know why this is the tircha that was singled out by Chazal of taking things and putting them into pillowcases. I have no idea why. But I do know that that's what it says over here in the Magen Avraham and the Mishnah Berurah, that they learned there's a new isser of placing things when there's a tircha. Obviously, it means it has to be annoying. So then, even if it's not makeh b'patish, if you learn like it's a machlekes, if you learn that the isser over here is tircha and the isser is not makeh b'patish, so now I ask you, let's by a show of hands, okay, or finger lach, whatever you want, okay, is it annoying to put we'll go one by one. Is it annoying to put the pillow into the pillowcase? Such a balin. Oh, okay. Is it annoying to, let's see, to put the sheet onto the bed? Yeah. Very annoying. Yeah. Atzas Hashem. Yeah. No, it's not annoying at all. Never did it even once. Yeah. I always told you this story, right? I told my son-in-law when he had the baby, right? Told him, diapering a baby, this is how it goes by the Kalluses. The first time your wife tells you diaper the baby, my daughter, tell her like this, okay, you take the baby, you bring the baby back. After you bring the baby back, she says, what happened? You didn't change the baby. What happened? You say, he made again? And you'll never be asked again to change the baby. Right? That's how it goes. So it's like the same thing when it comes to putting the sheet on the bed. Putting the sheet on the bed. So, the first time you put it on, it's like, there you are in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden, you know what I'm talking about, right? Your wife says, don't worry, you're put there. You're never doing it again, right? Because it's difficult. Now, let's go mikal lakavid. Everybody hold on to the table. Hold on to the table. Putting the quilt into the quilt cup. You know that guy's, no, it's very easy. He puts his hand in here and in here, go like that, right? Okay, so who says it's easy? Come. Could you please come to my house once a week or once in 2 weeks, please? Yeah, seems like it's not a problem for you. Yeah, anybody that has a cleaning lady knows, right? What's the job of the cleaning lady? Okay, quilt, quilt. Right? So it's not an easy thing. So if you learn that the lumdus is tircha is a gilui of makeh b'patish, so then there's no way it's makeh b'patish because even the first time it's not makeh b'patish, right? But if you learn that it's just a tircha, so then l'chayr it should come out. Unbelievable thing. This is like a brand new chumrah for me. You're not allowed to put the quilt into the quilt cover on Shabbos, right? V'yesh machmirim even during the week, right, Morty? Yeah, yesh machmirim even during the week. Zera. What? No, I said a different thing. You're saying out precision. This is out tircha. You're saying out precision, out something else. I'm saying out tircha. Out tircha. I was about to say the opposite. I said this over to a Talmud of Rav Scheinberg. That's where this Rav Scheinberg also comes from. And he said Rav Scheinberg held that the gather of tircha is something that requires precision. This doesn't need precision. It's just annoying. But that's a muridik chiddush. I think he misunderstood Rav Scheinberg. Rav Scheinberg didn't say it's only precision. Rav Scheinberg was saying even precision. Even something that technically is easy, but if it takes precision to do, then that'll also be involved in tircha. I don't think he was saying if something is mamish riziga annoying to do, that won't be called tayrich. I don't know. And what moichin is, I don't know. I don't know. What? He's asking a question. He's asking, how do I have a raya? Maybe the only time something is tircha is if the first, meaning tircha, this derabbanan tircha, is if the first time there's a makeh b'patish. The answer is there's no svara to that. There's no svara. It's very hard to know. I'm asking. It's going to be very hard to know. Now, the truth is, Rabbi said we do find kulas of tircha b'makom mitzvah. And the Makkah Mitzvah, we find Kallus of Tircha, like cleaning out a room. The Paiskim, the Shulchan Aruch talks about if you clean out a whole room for a base medrash, okay, but it says over there for Talmud Torah or for Orchim. So the nafkamina would be if you have Orchim, if you have Orchim and you're going to go, there's your shviger. There she is again. Remember from last month? It's been already a long time since we spoke about her, right? There's your shviger. All of a sudden, you say to her, here, mommy, with, blood coming down your lip. Here, mommy, this is where you'll be sleeping. We're so happy you came to help us, right? She comes into the room. She says, where's the blanket? You say, here's the blanket. Oh, but it's not inside the blanket cover. Oh, no. So now you're going to say, well, this is a shayla of tircha on Shabbos, but it's tircha b'makom machnasis orchem. And we find orchem. That's mamish the case of the Gemara. Tircha b'makom machnasis orchem is mutter. Right? The only thing is that there it's ish ladin. Ish ladin if that goes into achnasis b'stama because it'll make her feel good, whatever, right? Oh, very good. That's why. Very good. Thank you for reminding me. That's why we find in Hilchas Nida. In Siman Kuf Tzadiyah, very good, Rabbi Spire, that we find in Siman Kuf Tzadiyah that a lot of those things like making the bed that you're not allowed to do in front of your wife in front of you, all those things. That's where it's chiba, plopping up the, puffing, what's it called? Fluffing up the pillow, fluffing up the pillow, yeah. So then that's because there's chiba involved, and after you fluff it, you give it like a kush, fluffed. Yeah. But Mashenkein, when you take the what's it called, the quilt, the reinlegen inside there, das is avdos. Right, das is avdos. That's avdos. That's a cham in the heintige Parshas gewöhnlich. That's not something which is an easy thing to do. So therefore, you're allowed to do it in front of her. She's allowed to do it in front. You can do it right in front of me. You're allowed to do it right in front of me. You can tell her. You understand? Okay. So I don't know. It comes out an unbelievable thing. No, unbelievable. It's gonna be the biggest, the biggest chumrah I ever said in my life. No, it's unbelievable. I think it's the biggest chumrah ever. No. This is the first time too. Yeah. I admit, I don't know when we're going to be considering something a tircha and when not. But here I do have a precedent that when something is putting into something else, it's called tircha. I don't know. I called Rabbi because I was nervous to say this on my own. I said, sounds right. No, it says, yeah, it sounds right. It sounds weird. I said that. It sounds weird. But what can I tell you? So that means before Shabbos or Paisai, you make sure you change your linen, right? Especially with somebody who's like trying to be shayna people, whatever, right? Yeah, Rabbi Singer. Yeah, don't forget. Yeah, before Shabbos. I don't know how far to go with this. I just know annoying things of putting one into the other that I have a precedent for. Rabbi Singer, should I be very difficult for you? Should I be difficult? Rabbi Singer, over here there's a Shema Yikshor in the Sugya. There's a Shema Yikshor in the Sugya, and there's a Shema Yitva. I was thinking yesterday, who asked me yesterday about these insoles into the shoe? Who was it? Somebody? Everybody, right? The insoles, right? There's two types of insoles. There's insoles, which are just like some people stop. They want, some people have like minig of saying yedayim, their father put in insoles, their ankles of Dr. Scholl, and whatever, and all the way back. And every time they buy a pair of shoes, and so who remembers from the Haim? Do they still have those? The ones you used to cut out. Is that how it is? Is that what I'm talking about? No, Toronto, they don't have that there. They have like ice skates or something. But in England they have it. You have to like cut it out. Yeah, they have. I was thinking like this. First of all, let's go in order. Slow. Kindle. Can I put her into the shoe? Can I put her into the shoe? She's going into the shoe and she's remaining in the shoe. Right? Sorry? For the first time, I'm talking the first time. If she falls out, you can put her back. Like an old Mother Hubbard, you could put. But could you put her in for the Eshta Mol? It's not a medrash somewhere. Don't worry. But could you put her in for the first time? Or not? No, it's you're putting it in. Or do you say like maybe one of these svaras that I said yesterday, that the shoe is a totally fine, usable shoe. Everything is fine, And now what are you doing? You're adding. That's maybe like a bed cover. What? It's not dumia so much as the belt in the pants. Because the belt in the pants, no one sees as one. I gave a svar yesterday that it's just a laziness not to take her out. Here the pshat is that you're making it a cushy shoe. You fabesser the shoe. I don't know. It's an improvement to the shoe. I don't know. That was like, is the, like the chakira, is the bacher under the hat or is the hat over the bacher? I don't know if that's true. But yeah, the shoe's a better shoe. I don't know. I'm not convinced. Wait. So, yeah, no. So if you took it out once, there's no shiloh you could put her back. That's no shiloh. Oh, that could be a problem. No, because the shidduch of her and her has never been. Her and him, you gotta be careful today. But her and him, the shidduch has never been, right? I don't know. No, it's a very interesting thing. No, and don't get confused. This is not like a sheet on a bedspread. A bed is a bed, and you're just doing it to be able to wash it afterward. And here, you're doing it to leave there. You're fabessering the shoe. Now, Rabbi Adler asked me, I'm not convinced. I would be nervous to put it the first time. Wait. Rabbi Adler asked me a question that then there's sometimes that you have somebody who, let's say you would disagree with this. I'm not convinced. And I'm pretty sure that this is a problem. But let's say you would be bold enough to say, no, the shoe is a perfect shoe and it's not. Okay. I'm not convinced. The insole itself is worthless without the shoe. So typically that you're giving the insole, a nuchshivas. I don't know. But sometimes you have these, what are they called? Orthopods? But they're called something. Orthotics. I think the Israelis call them midrasim and I think mucheret peis for them, so chaparayim, But the midrasim, and you put them in because you have feet problem. You got all types of dreadful calluses and who knows what and whatever. So what do you have? Yeah, you have falafels on your feet. The whole matzah. That's what they call. Oh, flat feet. Sorry, I thought he said something else. You have like all these. Every clubs I'm talking about, you have these like midrasim. They have them in Muncie over there. Rabbi Shosafat, they have those. No. Some people they can't wear the shoes without them. They're in pain. So Rabbi Adler asked me, "Oh, thank you for our viewing pleasure." Right? No, and it's painful for you without them, right? You have like fregnished, the whole thing, falafels, right? No, it's a martik izach. Rabbi Adler is asking me, even if you'll tell me that this shoe is a normal shoe, but for me, a normal shoe is broken. So how do we look at this? Do we say that for sure is you fix the shoe? Now, for shteitzach, the second time is mutter. That's not even a question. The question is the first time ever. And he's saying a very good question because what happens? A person buys these things on the weekday, right? He puts it into his weekday shoe. Kum Shabbos. So what does he do? Now he puts it into his Shabbos shoe for the first time ever. Wait, slowly. What? Is that going to be a problem? What? Oh, so I'm not sure because it's mamish lahedja not going to remain. It's like lahedja not going to remain in the Shabbos shoe. What? It's lahedja known it's spotless to the Shabbos shoe. I'm a little bit. What? The insoles do. No, his become mamish a part of the shoe, right? Oh, you take him in and out for Shabbos. So you say it's like a belt. One time, a regular insole is definitely. Wait, Rabbi say. All this was I was trying to get to a point. Rabbi say. Rabotai. Ask Geshmak. No, it's not Geshmak. It's nothing like it. What do the Goyim do? No, it's a Geshmak. No, but I realized today when I was thinking about this case, what you guys asked me, I got a bigger problem. Oh, fancy people. Oh, with your fancy orthopods. Me from Daheim. Who remembers this? You know what I'm talking about, right? Right? How do I know now what goes into a Shema Yikshor? It's not a Gzeira of Chazal. It's a Tosfos. It's not a Gzeira, it's not a Gemara, it's not a Rav Ashi, right? It's not a Takonas Chachamim. Tosfos says that when you're doing something that the last step of it is to tie, or the last step of it is Shema Yitka. Tosfos says Shema Yikshor, Shema Yitka means Yivna. You might do a binyan or whatever. So then how do I know now? How do I know when I draw this line? Maybe there's a Shema, you'll cut it. Very normal thing. But
once you do something, maybe.
So I'm doing something. I'm putting it into the shoe for the first time. Yeah, I am doing. No, I agree. It has to be you're doing something. Wait, so 1 minute. I'm gonna. 1 second. I'm not saying. Let's say you have a fellow. He's the guy that ties his shoe and it keeps it shut for years. He keeps it shut for years, right? So this guy, he's not allowed to tie his shoes on Shabbos, because now it's going to keep tied for years, and it's a whole shaila even if he has das to undo it. We spoke about it last one. But let's say, so the guy says, fine, so I'll wear my shoes and I won't tie them. Okay, so wait, let's make a Shema Yikshor. So Shema Yikshor, because by him doing it, it's going to be, Lo'ilam Vod and this. So that doesn't bother me because he's not doing something in the string. He's not doing something. But here, he's taking the insole, he's putting it in. Let's say, first of all, it's the second time, which for sure is mutter mitzad. Or let's say you were brave enough to say on time number one, which I'm not brave enough. But let's say he'll say time number one, or the second time. So you're putting it, it's the second time, maybe it's not Shema Yikshor. Because he already put it in. So he already showed us it was put in like that, so why should I have to worry? Elamai, so then it's not Negeya, because I hold the Tasa the first time anyways, else Makeh B'Patish. Then somebody else asked me, somebody else asked me a Shaila. Somebody asked me about he told me not to say who he was that was asking the Shaila, so I won't say who he was. But somebody else asked me that, what if they have these double beds, right? And you want to put on the double bed a mattress cover, and it makes it into one bed now. The mattress, yesterday we spoke about a mattress cover, and I wanted to say it was mutter because the mattress is good, and you're just doing it because you can't take the mattress and throw her into the washing machine, right? So, it's just clothing for the mattress, but it's not, okay, we spoke about maybe if it's blocking a spring, we could not, but let's say you're taking two mattresses and you're putting it together. So now you made it into one bed. So right away I said, well, it's not Negeya when they're needed, so it's not buckled. Yeah, but what if she's pregnant, right? So then he's being mevatel there for the next 9 months and whatever, right? So now you mevatel there for 9 months. And let's say it's new and it's the first time. I know a lot of these things are kimtas, right? What? Okay, so first of all, you have this is like mamish, like the Shagi Kallus Chumrah of the year over here, the tircha. It's for sure a tircha, right? She's going to have to really work hard to put this on, and she's pregnant and everything, She's going to have to really work hard to get this bedspread on, what's it called, the mattress cover on both beds. It's not easy. It's not so easy and whatever. Okay, but yeah, you're right. So anyways, Kallus is asking out tircha, but I want to know if it's deraisa. I want to know if we can throw her off a cliff, right? Not else just tircha, I don't know. Interesting, right? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. It's not two beds. It's not one bed. I don't buy it. You buy it? I don't buy it. Huh? You buy it? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't know. I don't think so. What about these things? The collar stays. You know what these things are? You see it? You're coming in and out. I never took mine out ever, You're supposed to? You're supposed to? Really? What's like you ever wonder, it says on the mattress, like it has that warning and it's illegal to take this thing off. You're always nervous, like the police are going to come. I took off that thing, Well, it's the same thing. It's the same idea. Like the police can come and everything. And then they're a matashkol. And I'm from a matashkol. Okay, Akapanim. All right, let's start this year. Where are we holding here? Oh my goodness. No, wait. What about these things? To put these things in, they come. Mine came with the shirt. The Kallus day. Thank you. The Kallus day. Mine come with the shirt. I think that's how it goes. Well. No, I'm saying, so let's say it's the first time you buy this fancy people shirt, right? It's coming right out. No, but mine stayed in for like a long time. It's never come out ever. I'm saying, so it's a problem, no? No, I'm saying, you just insulted me. I leave mine in. Better people leave them in. Rosh Hashanah leave them in. I'm Rosh Hashanah now. Yeshivish people. Leave them. Boss? I don't know. I think it's a problem. You're right. If you guys with the fancy people, every night. You don't even change your shirt every night. You're talking to me. Huh? Yeah? It's like a belt? Okay, so if you guys it's like that, then it's into 8. Right? But Rabbi, did you ever take it out once in your life? Check. One last thing, Rabbi side. In the hitl in the hat, yeah? In the hat. Sometimes the hat doesn't fit. So what do? You put in these like even like a cushion or like a mask or whatever, you put it in there, right? A mask would be a problem. A mask would be a problem. Rabbi said, a mask would be a problem because then we'd have a problem with saw. We'd be afraid that you might come to use it or whatever. Right? I guess it depends who you are. But yeah, so the strimal there. But to put it in for the first time, Rabbi said, to put it in for the first time into your hat, let's say this tissue was never in this hat. Okay, again, it could be the hat had a tissue, but let's say this tissue was never in this hat and you decide to put in another one for a little extra, she's going to be there for a very long time. You're not taking it out. She's going to be there for a very long time. It becomes this battle to the kli. It fabesters the kli. It makes it fit Rabbi Adler, even though it fits your head. It doesn't fit mine. It doesn't matter. This is the hat, and you're fabestering the hittel, the hat. And das is a problem. Interesting, huh? It's interesting. That's what he was asking. That's what Rabbi Adler is asking. But here's not just like, it's a preference. It's like, the hat. There I could hear, because there's enough people out there like you guys that seem to take them in and out. And, by you, you seem to take it out as often as you, whatever, right? But I don't know. I guess, Okay, let's start this year though. But that's l'chayra some ha'oras here. That's some ha'oras. Now, I didn't do anything. One second. I don't even know what to do here. All right. No, there's one thing we didn't talk about. These. All right, let's start. We have 10 minutes. Let's start. Okay, they have these. Rabbi said. So they have like this. It was just Negei me on the Yontif of Sukkot. So what happened was, we had the first day of Sukkot was when? Who remembers when? Very good, Shabbos. You guys remember? So Shabbos was the first day of Sukkot. No. So what happened? We didn't calculate. Well, it doesn't matter because the first day of Sukkot is Yontif anyways, right? So the halachas are all the same. Yontif and Shabbos copy these halachas, right? So we didn't calculate properly that the amount of beds for the sukkah. So we had just a certain amount of beds, and okay. So now you can start bringing the beds from the bedrooms and stuff like that. But we had these mats. It's like much more inconvenient to start bringing a whole bed and whatever, And also sometimes, like your Chaim Kanievsky writes in a certain sefer, he writes that he remembers one time he was sleeping in the sukkah. He writes two interesting stories. One time he writes that he used to sleep in the Stipler's bed every night. Sam, you want to know where you get a Chaim Kanievsky from? Yeah, myself, I would sleep in the Stipler's bed every night, It's stuff where it rubs off. No, if your children ever want to come and sleep in your bed, come on in. One day the kid could be as big as Chaim Kanievsky, right? So he said, but there's one time his father, Tata didn't let him. When was the one time his father didn't let him sleep in the bed? It was on Sukkot, because he said that it was mitzdayer, and he didn't want to have any tsar in the sukkah. He didn't have any tsar in the sukkah, even though he wouldn't have been patur, because he would have chapped him inside. But I heard from that. That means that for 340 days a year, the Stipler suffered with his son in the bed. But Sukkot, he wants to sleep. So Chaim, that was one thing. Chaim, no, and that I guess when you have such a father and so much ahava, so then you become a Chaim Kanievsky. It's unbelievable. How old? I don't think he was 35. I'm saying also these chevra in Bnei Brak, they get married when they're 14, 15. I don't know that. I'm saying, but no, it's unbelievable. No, right? I read that thing, and then that night, my daughter came into my bed. When the other daughter came in, other children from the neighborhood. It was like it's like I say, everybody in. No, once I realized you can have great kids if you let them in their bed, even if it's I woke up on the floor, both comfortable. So how did I get into that? Oh, because the second story, Chaim writes over there one because somebody asked him, it's hard for my wife when I sleep in the sukkah. Is that called mitzdayer? But he's going to. So Chaim writes. He writes that you have to be very careful before it's mitzdayer part of the sukkah. So he says one time there he was in the sukkah. He writes these stories back to back. One time I was in the sukkah, and all of a sudden I felt something come into the bed. I felt something come in. I didn't think about it, but there it was, and it just meant to sleep. He woke up in the morning, and there it was. Meow. That's what he writes there. He writes there. He says he got it before. Meow in the American is like a cat. Hello Kitty. You have to be very careful before you say mitzdayer patur masuk. Me and you, we'd be running to who knows where. The cat came in over here. Ooh, cat. It has all types of diseases. Okay, but why am I telling you this story? What? The Kallus had a whole story over there because so what are you going to start bringing them out? And what cats are going to come in? You don't want your regular mattress out there. You want the mattress that you don't mind if the cats are crying and give it. So the kids are so somebody said we have this because like during this whole Corona period, everybody bought all these like weird, interesting things. All these like swings are going around and all these hammock loch and whatever. So the Kallus has also got involved. We had like a blow up section. We bought all these like blow up things. That way it keeps the kid busy on the whole day of Ben Zman. Until we stopped, you could just buy a pump and So we had all these blow up zachen. So one of the kids said, "Hey, wait a minute. We had this like blow up like couch mats. It had like legs that looked like one of those like psychologist chair things, and the whole thing." So he said, "Bring that. It's very comfortable, Grotto. Very comfortable." No, you allowed to blow that up on Shabbos. Yeah, blow it up on Shabbos. Let's see. It's definitely the second time, right? I mean, it was already blown up during the summer Ben Zman. It was the last time we had used it, but it was blown up during the summer Ben Zman. So now what's this? You're putting air in her for the second time, right? Fresh air for the second time. Yeah. What? The truth is, I don't know how you can get out of the Tircha Shaila. I'm asking. I don't know how you're going to get out of Tircha Shaila, but Rabbi Khan, if the Isser is Tircha, the way we learn Tircha, the Fida Mishabura, what's the Isser? Oh, wait, Rabbi said you're going to hear something wonderful now. Rabbi Khan said, Rabbi Khan, and also it was it was my son-in-law was the one we were going to put on the plastic. So no, it's like a real thing. If you learn, it's gevaldik, right? If you learn that the pshat in tircha is an uptight makeh b'patish, right? So then we really have to don this shaila properly. We have to don the first time, we have to don the second time. But if you learn that it's the second time and that the only issue is tircha, that's the only issue. So then I've got a lot of leeway over here. This is a sukkah. You need a bed in the sukkah. It's achnas sorchim. It's a mitzvah. It's whatever. It's all these things. What? Okay, it's true. Rabbi Lieberman is saying, I don't know if it warrants a makkah mitzvah if you have a different bed and you're just trying to save your bed. Okay, he's right. But let's say this is all I have. It's 2:00 in the morning. Right? You know what? He says, he's very interesting. Rabbi, very good. Rabbi Fischel says, well, you're going to have to walk all the way to the bedroom, take off the bed, it's a heavy bed, and go and bring it to the sukkah. Who says that tircha outweighs this? Yeah, but Lamaisa, we know it's not true. Because this is the tircha that Chazal are talking about. Adding something to something else is called tircha, and schlepping things is not a mirror. By Mefan, schlepping 4 or 5 boxes and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know. Yishladin, it's not pasha. We have to learn that sugya. It's a good question. I like the question. What? Oh, comes along Rabbi Amoyel is such a troublemaker. What? Okay, with the betting, nishkefelach, I guess, because, yeah. But, I'll come to again Rabbi Amoyel, and he says, such a troublemaker. He says, wait a minute. Maybe the second time by an airbed is like the first time. Maybe the second time of an airbed is like the first time. Why? What's the svar, Rabbi Maya? What's the svar of such a thing? Why? This is new air that I'm putting in. What? So he says. So Rabbi Maya says, just like if I take this lace and I put her with this shoe, even though she was in that shoe, but this shoe nishkat the lace, so that's a problem, right? So now it's true. It used to have yana air, and that air is already gone and evaporated, and now we put in a new air, and this is a new air. So what are you going to say? Some like lumdisha evil thing, like air is ein bo mamish. What? No. So now, first of all, comes along my singer. He says, wait, we have to don. Is it bichlal shidduch over here? Now I must tell you that bed was up for 3 weeks during the summer. During the Ben Zmanim. It was just it was a bed. It's like a couch. I'll show it to you guys come. What? No. I'm saying the first time. The Ershtemol. The Sveitemol, it was going to be made for 8 days. So, and then afterward, we're going to take it down. It's not clear to me the exact amount of time. It's true. These things are built. Let's go in order. A basketball, right? Like what you guys play. No, but shuffleboard doesn't have a ball. They play like soccer with the football, right? You call it a football, right? So there it's going to remain, right? It's going to remain. The football, the air inside the football is going to remain. So this is the nidin. This is the nidin. The nidin number one you have to don is, let's go, Rabbi. Nidin number one you have to don is the first time. Is there a problem making it the first time? Saying what's Parshas is a problem, right? I don't know. Maybe air is like aimed by mamish or something, and maybe you didn't create it. Is there a nissa the second time? Is there a nissa the second time? It's makav patish. Is there a nissa mitzad tircha? What's the story over here? That's a big shayla. So there's a Rav Payalim. Oh, it got so late. There's a Rav Payalim. He's talking about riding a bicycle on Shabbos. He says you can't ride a bike on Shabbos over here in Izmir because of Haitzah. Says Haitzah. You're going to drive this bike over here in Izmir, and you're going to drive it, and there's no Erev, and you're going to drive it. That's called you're schlepping the bike. He says, yeah, but what about if there's an Erev in the parts of Izmir that are, within the Erev? So he says, yeah, but don't ride this bike because you're going to come to, he's not sure if he makes a gzeira or if he says you might, make sure you don't. He says, you be careful not to fill up that tire with air. Now, it's kind of interesting. It's mashma in him, but I would understand because even to like add air, something we never spoke about before. Could you add moichim, Sounds like you're fabestering it, right? Certainly on a basketball. If you need to add air to make it better, to bounce better, I don't know if it's the rice, the rabbanon, both, or neither. I don't know. It's pretty bad, right? But he says, don't you? So it sounds like that's our case. Don't ride your bike because he doesn't sound like he's talking about dafka the first time. He sounds like Bain the first time, Bain the second time, Bain adding air. He sounds like it's a problem. What's the problem? What's the problem of putting this air inside this? So the Minchas Yitzchak in Chelik Vav and the Chelkas Yainkiv in Chelik Gimel in Kufn and Tes for Breish, they say, no way, not the first time, not the second time, no way. They're not willing to accept it. Why not? There's a lot of svaras here. Let me give you a few of them first. I don't know if we'll finish it today, but they say, no way, no way. Because, the way I understood what they were saying is that it's new air. That's how I understood how they were saying. This is new air. That air is gone. Okay. Now what's left? A shell of let's use basketball first. We'll get to the case of mattress soon because Rabbi Singer's question is a very good question. Maybe it's not meant to last. But let's talk about something that we all agree. Putting air in the basketball or something like that. Okay. In the football. So there they say what happened? Now there's no air in it. Now you're putting air a second time. So this air is not the Zelba air. It's a new air. Right? New air. So if it's a new air, so then there's no shaila. That's a new shidduch, and that's what they write. They write it's aser. And the adding will also be a problem. You're adding and you're making it better. Okay, so then you get done. Exact, at what point it's not called you did anything. I'm asking you get done. I'm asking, okay. But you get the point. So now you got a soccer ball is probably muksa on Shabbos. Basketball might not be. A soccer ball is probably muksa. Because a soccer ball is something Yizicha can't play on Shabbos because you're going to come to play on grass and you're going to come to rip up grass and you're going to come to smooth out the ground. A basketball is something that's always played on that's how they play basketball. It's always on a cement surface, right? Because if you play it on, if you're going to play it on grass, it doesn't bounce so well and whatever. So they're not going to come to smooth out the ground. It's under shmuz. But I don't want you to, afterward on Shabbos, you're going to say, you see this ball? You're not allowed to put air in it. It's muksa. The basketball is probably not muksa. Akapanim. But I got so late. I don't know what to do here. Well, now we also have to say chumash, right? We didn't learn anything today. No, Imam shouldn't do anything today. And what's going to be the muksa? Well, okay, I mentioned muksa and I mentioned the Raya yesterday from the Mogen Avram on muksa. It's not good. It's taka. There's a lot here. And I also have to say on chumash. What should I do? We didn't do anything today. No. All right, it's not Kedai. Let's do some chumash and that's it. Enjoy your seger. Okay, so Danny, you can make this a separate shir. Where's Danny? Oh, God bless you, Danny. They never saw me. The new guys never saw me. Do the introduction to the 30 times can be very awkward for them. No? Okay. I welcome all the visitors from Torah Anytime to Yerushalayim Yer Kodesh, Ramat Eshkol. Vayimach es koil ayikum vayishayer ach loyach. the whole world was destroyed. The whole world was destroyed. Vayishayer ach Noach. The only one left, says the pasuk, was Noach. He's the only one left. Says the Gemara, the Tanchuma, sorry. The Tanchuma says, ach Noach. The only one that was left was Noach. What's the lashon ach? Ach. It's a lashon of anocha, like sigh, like ach Noach, ach. It's a certain lashon over there that Noach, when he left the teva, he was broken somewhat. He was somewhat broken. It's like the Medrash. What was the story? So the Medrash says that the story was that in the teva there was a hungry ari. There was a hungry lion one day, and the whole story, Noach tarried. Good word. Noach was late in giving him his food, and the rest is history. He went and he bit Noach, and Noach became lame, and Noach was affected physically and spiritually. What do I mean? Physically, obviously, he had to limp for the rest of his life. Rabbi said, Noach lived another 300 years. I mean, it wasn't like, the rest of his life. He went out to eat 600 years. No. Noach, for the rest of his life, limped. He limped, and it wasn't stam a limp. It was a limp that, every time, he probably had trauma. Every time he took a walk, he remembered, there's a very serious thing, very serious thing. But the Medrash says it was much worse than that. The Medrash says he was spiritually affected for the rest of his life because Noach became a balmum. And a balmum is not able to be makriv a korban. He's not able to. So who had to help him? Right? Who had to help him? Shem. That's why it says when Shem came out of the teva, the Gemara learns out that Shem was the one that was makriv the korban. Noach came out, the broken person from this whole incident with this line. Rabbi said, who's Noach? Noach is, I just look at the lashon of the psukim. Noach is doch the matzachein. Noach is matzachein in a world gone mad. Noach is the only one that finds favor in the Rebbeinu Shalom's eyes. How much do we want that in life? That the Rebbeinu Shalom we should have chein in his eyes. That's all you need in life, Rabbi said. If you have that, you have siyata d'shmaya. Noach is the oisai. The Oischa Reis Tzaddik, right? Eselikim is Halich Noach. Noach is a half-a-dika person. Okay, afterward there was a whole story with Noach, but certainly to that point, Noach was the tzaddik. He was the tzaddik. Unbelievable. And what did Noach do? Noach and his 3 children, they saved the whole entire world, the animal world, the entire animal world. Their responsibility was, you ever go to the zoo? I haven't been to the zoo since this whole Corona thing started, You know me, I used to be like a zoo nut, and I used to always hang out by the zoo. And we used to go Parshas Noach. I don't know, maybe you think they're what? The table is still there. Oh, the table, No, you think that, I used to take the kids every Parshas Noach on Erev Shabbos, and I would show them, look at this. They have here how many workers on every single, area. There's like 2 or 3 workers on every area. The whole zoo had 100 mention for a beautiful animal. Big deal. Noach had every animal in the world. There's no zoo that has every animal in the world, right? You're in a biblical zoo. What's that stuff? Right? You don't even have a tenth of the animals that Noach had kahat inside the teva. And look at them. There were 3 of them. 3 of them in Noach, who were the grosser workers over there. A staff of, they had those like zoo sweatshirts and everything, right? Zookeepers and dust. And who did they have? They had Noach and Shem, and Cham was already a whole parsha. Well, you can imagine what's going on with him, And Mamish, the 3 of them, the ganze, the whole entire zoo. They have to every day feed the animals for 1 year. And so you think maybe I'm exaggerating. The Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf Koches, Shem says to Eliezer, Eliezer, let me tell you what went on in the teva. We didn't sleep. Something doesn't mean like, you have like, sounds like, a Bacher, he says, we worked so hard, Mom didn't sleep, at night he didn't sleep, morning, he didn't sleep. No, they didn't sleep. It says, because there's some animals that eat at night. So we had to feed those animals. The second, those ones, the shift came, okay, mornings later, then there's some chaver, they needed a midnight snack, afternoon snack. We didn't sleep in the teva for 1 year. This is what he was Isaac in the whole entire year. I'll tell you, and the Gemara says over there that the elephants, they ask in the zmoiris, the branches, right? And what's a ya'enim in English? I don't know. What does article say? Like ostriches or storks or I don't know. They eat glass. Until Noach figured this out, fregnished. Imagine the whole time you're trying to figure out what do you eat. You give him a potato, you give him gourd, you give him schnitzel, herring, garnish, right? Finally, you take out a cup, you put in beer, he takes the beer, spills it out, takes the glass, starts eating the glass. It was a very, very difficult thing to be in charge of this ganze zoo. That was Noach. Noach was the Baal Chesed par excellence. Par excellence. 4 people that are responsible for the whole entire. And what happened? That's true. Don't get me wrong. Somebody that shows compassion to animals and does where there's no covet. I'm not talking about people that are getting paid and whatever, or people that like animals more than they like their parents. I'm talking about like normal people but somebody who show compassion to animals. The stories about tzaddikim that shows something about a person, especially somebody who's not good to animals. So it's murdik and maisa. It's like a maisa with a maisa. It's murdik and maisa with Rav Heschel. The Rebbe Rav Heschel, by us Rav Heschel is like, before Chassidus, that was the Rebbe. He was before Chassidim, right? And he was the Rebbe Rav Heschel. He's the Rebbe the Shach, the Rebbe the Taz. And, all of our stories come from Rav Heschel. He's a brilliant person. Rav Heschel was the most sought after bacher in all of Europe. So he got a shidduch, which was, and he was the Torah, and it was like a money shidduch. It was like Torah Gedula b'Makom Echad. It was in Brisk. And so he went to Brisk for his ofruf. There he is outside of his porch, sitting there on the porch, learning there on Erev Shabbos, Erev his ofruf, and he sees over there a commotion coming from the house next door, which was the house of the Mechitin. And what happened was they brought out the food for the ofruf and they put it on the porch next to it. Did I say the story over here? They put the porch they put the food on the porch. The food for the ofruf, they put it on the porch. And then all of a sudden came like some birds and whatever. They came there and they started looking at the food and they started pecking around. And Rav Heschel's watching the story. Rav Heschel, a fish chusin, his offer is right now for Shabbos. All of a sudden he sees the kala come out mit a stecken. She comes out and she starts hitting the bird. All these fake patching away the birds. He was so distraught, right? To himself, he right away said, the shidduch is off. Right? It's our girl that, she didn't act like that on the date. This Chassidim, they dated, right? And she didn't act like that on the date, and she's botching away, the fragment, right? And she got a few too, those games, right? He couldn't believe what he's seeing, Rav Heschel. No, it's a real story. He couldn't believe what he's seeing, Rav Heschel. Couldn't believe it, right? And so what you do? Can't go through with the shidduch. She has no compassion, right? In public she has compassion, but this is where no bird is going to come to complain to you about what they did. Who's complaining? So what could you do? Bas Yisrael. What could you do? So he went to the shul. He went over to the pushka in front of everybody. Took the pushka, pocketed it. Yeah. It's socially awkward, right? Just took all the money, last ruble, nacha kopek, put it inside and walked out of the shul. That was it. Ganif! Somebody started screaming, Ganif! He stole the pushka. They started screaming. They run after him. He didn't run very fast, right? You got me. Why'd you do it? Klepto, illness. They tell the Mechudin, get out of the town. You'll never marry my daughter. Right? His father says, Heishel, what happened? Not for us. Right? She doesn't have compassion. I did it. So that way, not the Fashem and the Bas Yisrael. Not the Fashem and the Bas Yisrael. Okay. But Mitzad Sheni, can't marry her. Problems, illness. Okay. Now, Kapanim, why did I tell you that story? Right? Because, when it comes to animals, that zikr shows a person that's doing something with compassion and no covet, shows that he's an unbelievable person. That means Noach for a ganze yor, all day, every day, with the animals, with the Baal Chesed, she'ein kamayu. So what happens? One day, he comes late. Do you know why he comes late? The Gemara says the whole Maisa. The Gemara says, why did he come late to feed the lion? He never came late before. Well, what happened was the lion was sick. Corona, and there he is, the lion, he's lying down like this. So he went over to the lion, he sees the lion, doesn't want to eat now. He saw the lion wasn't hungry, he said, okay, I'll come back to the lion. Right? That's how the Mepharshim, I'll come back to the lion. So what happens? He skips over the lion. There was time over here, like he shouldn't have skipped. He should have tried. I don't know, whatever. Ben Adam Ari, right? And he epis on his madrega. So the lion pumped that second, got hungry. So there was a second that the lion was hungry, and he bit Noach. What was Noach? Noach was a tzaddik shein kamayu. And Chazal say, the Gemara says in Shabbos, Kuf Nun Aleph, the only time an animal could be shoylit on a human, could hurt a human, is when he doesn't see it tzelem elikim. That means Noach for 1 year. Do you imagine what creatures were around Noach? You imagine what's going on. It doesn't say anywhere that Noach trained in the biblical zoo beforehand or whatever. God told him, "Du bist Noach, du bist the tzelem elikim, to reingehen to the teva. No one's going to start with you. You have a tzelem elikim. You're oisai reisi tzaddik lefanai es elikim is halich Noach. You're matzachein be'enai. As no one's going to start with you because you have a tzelem elikim." That means one time, over the course of a year, epis begam in his tzelem elikim, and because of that, the lion was able to chapsich. This is a very, very high madrega. High madrega. The Torah obviously is talking to us to learn something from this. That's a very high madrega. I mean, what do you want? If he didn't be mishtadel as much as he can, it's a difficult thing. He wasn't mishtadel. Is there a possibility that Noach could have been mishtadel more than such a thing? So what do you want from Noach? What do you want from Noach? So the answer is like this. Yaakov Galinsky says a very similar thing also. He says even nicer, but I'll just say it Bekitzer. There's another Gemara. There's a Gemara Bab Metzia Daf Peivav. These Parshas are all connected. Everyone knows the famous Gemara. Avram Avinu, the Gemara Bab Metzia Peivav. Avram Avinu goes and he gives to the Malachim different Zachin. So Gemara says, Kifi, how Avram Avinu gave to the Malachim is how he got paid back. It's a famous Gemara. Avram Avinu, when it came to, I think, El Bakar, what's Avram? I don't remember by heart. So Avram Avinu ran for the Bakar, and he ran to give them the Lechem, and he ran to this, right? So all the things that Avram Avinu, what he did by himself. So then when Hashem repaid Klal Yisrael, when the Heilig Bashefer paid back Klal Yisrael, years later, so he paid back B'kvaydoi ba'atzmai. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Avram Avinu ran with the bread. He ran with the bread. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us man for 40 years. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Anan, he protected Klal Yisrael because the things that Avram Avinu did. But then there was the one thing Avram Avinu did, which was by a shliach, and that was the Yukach Nat Ma'at Mayim. He did it with a shliach. So then the water that Klal Yisrael got, that kufa was with a shliach. Oh, not stam a shliach. Not stam a shliach. I mean, the reason of the whole story with Mei Meriva means because Avram Avinu didn't on his own go and bring the water. So what is the punishment of not bringing the water on your own? So now you have to have Moshe Rabbeinu supposed to talk to the seller, Gan's story. Moshe Rabbeinu Basayf, whatever Madrega, whatever Pagam, there was a chait, and Moshe Rabbeinu now, because of this, because we didn't get the water Derech HaKadosh Baruch Hu straight. We got it on the day of Shliach. Oh, because we got it there Shliach, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't take us into Eretz Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu was chayte, and Zan Hafladika Madrega, Moshe Rabbeinu was chayte. We didn't go into Eretz Yisrael. Because we didn't go into Eretz Yisrael, we are in Kallus for the last 3,300 years. I am in the Gemara in Sotah Daf Tes. If Moshe Rabbeinu would have taken us in, the Mashiach would have been Moshe, and everything would have been smooth. And because of that, we're in Kallus for 3,300 years. Why? Because Avram Avinu sent the Vasa mit HaShliach. There's a lot going on here, right? Rabbi say, from a piece of bread, you get mun for 40 years? for giving a piece of bread, mun? Do you know mun is from Shemayim for 40 years? 40 years, a whole nation, Parnasa, not to worry about Parnasa, right? And also go, so that means your action's unbelievable, right? And then go the other way. So then if you see that with a piece of bread, you get mun for 40 years. So then, and the nice is so big, the opposite direction. Because I did the water with a shliach, because of this, my children have to suffer in Kallus for 3,300 years? What's this? What is this? This is called a seed. This is called a seed. Avram Avinu is our mashal. Avram Avinu does as a seed. When you have a seed and there's something epis wrong with the seed, so then that which is going to come out of it can be the tiniest little enzyme that does gaitnish with the seed. Everything else, this seed and this seed are identical exactly. I once there was a gardener who was explaining this to me. Like a from gardener, Gishmaki, and he was explaining this. He has nice long hair also, like Gishmaki, like one of those kind of guys, right? And he's explaining to me this seed and this seed is the exact same one. He says, but this one might not work. They look the same in every part of it. So he says one enzyme or one proton, one crouton, it's enzyme different, There could be one little something different. A dot. And because of that, it's either going to come out bad or it's not going to come out bichlal or whatever. A tiny nothing. Ooh, because when you're dealing with a seed has to be perfect. And from a seed, what you can get is unbelievable, right? So, this is Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu is a seed. He's a seed. He's planting. So when you plant a piece of bread with chesed, Avram Avinu is the seed of Klal Yisrael. He's the seed of Klal Yisrael. So what do you get? You get man for 40 years. Wow. Right? But if you plant a seed, I'm there, Madrega. It's for us to learn, obviously. But you plant in the seed that there was one dot missing. So you know what happened? Yeah, you got water, but the water wasn't perfect. And like beside, we're in Kallus for 3,300 years. That's a seed. Noach is a seed. Noach is a seed. What's Noach? Noach is the teva is the basis and foundation of the whole entire world. The world is over, new world. So this is the teva is a seed. The teva is a seed. So what is that seed? So what were the two murdik pegamim in the door of the mapel? The priestess was Noach. Therefore, in the teva, Chazal tell us, the Gemara Sanhedrin Kuf Ches, for 1 year they all had to be pirish from their wives because it had to be the other extreme. Because there was a foundation. That world was riddled with preachers and terrible and all types of zima. So then in this world, the seed can't have even a mashu havamina of zima. Nothing. And fakir, the Gemara says somebody that was, promiscuous inside the teva, he got a terrible einish and whatever. Okay. So that's because it's a seed. On a seed, the danger of even one dot being off is no. So what was the pgam of the Dora Mabel? Gezel. Gezel is the antithesis of chesed. Gezel is that you don't exist. I do what I want. You don't exist, and I exist. I leave out to nobody else. So I don't respect other people's property rights. You don't exist. So what's the ganze teva? The ganze teva is chesed. Chesed. Out of sight. To chesed with people that you're not going to get. They're not going to. It's not like you guys have been watching maybe too many cartoons with Sesame Street. The animals weren't talking over there. Not standing up, all these the Noach Teva and all the animals saying, "Wow, Noach, you're great." There was moo and bad, right? There was no talking over there. There was no covet. There was no dinners. There was no anything. There was nobody. Noach was doing the most chesed without any covet, without any nikia, without any zichalein for 1 year. So in that seed, even on that, which it's hard for us to even understand on his madrega what it was even, but it doesn't matter because that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with foundation. And therefore, he got his punishment, the Balmum, and because of that, he couldn't be makar of the korbanos and does. What this has to do with us is this is a gracie side. This is a gracie side. We live our entire lives are bets and seeds. Our entire lives are seeds. You take a child, the first child goes to cheder, it's a seed, right? So we know that's easy. With chinuch, it's all seed. Whatever the kid is going to get in chinuch, it's a seed. What you put in proper now, it's going to be planted, and then it's going to come out. Everybody knows that, right? And then if you did something wrong when the kid was little and whatever, you got weird kids. That's how it goes, right? And then, but so it's not just chinuch though, and we know our years in yeshiva bacher. We know that's a seed. That's a seed. And if there's something off, that's it, right? I tell Bacher, you train yourself to be an Igor, to be an idiot for 3 years. He doesn't go to minyan on time or at all or whatever. He comes to Seder when he wants, when he doesn't want, he waltzes in, and he's saying that, and his midas and this. But the day I get married, I'm going to change, right? Right? The day he gets married, all of a sudden he's going to start to go. You trained yourself for 3 years to be this way, it's a chinuch, right? But forget all that. It's a seed. It's a seed. If there was something off in the seed, that which is going to come out of the seed is not going to be so gevaldik. It's not going to be so gevaldik. It comes out of a seed. It can come out unbelievable. It can come out one for 40 years from a piece of bread. Right? And what's Shana Rishayna? What's Shana Rishayna? That's a seed, right? That's like a seed. It's a seed for the rest of marriage. That's a seed. It's mamish a seed. The mistakes a person can make now is nerd, but why you have to look at the mistakes? What he can do now in a positive, it could be like unbelievable 25 years down the line, 35 years down the line, 85 years down the line. Right? What could come out of there? It could come out there in the great-great-grandchildren from something that was in that seed. And the years that you're in Kailul. But you have to do this in every shlav in life. Well, and the whole Olam Hazeh is a seed for what? For your ganze Olam Haba. What's the seed? And if there's something wrong in this world, so then that murdika Weltwissenschaft in Himmel that you're making for yourself, if there's a problem over here in Hey Cheshvin Tovshin Pei Aleph, right? So then, then it's there's no shaila that the zushtel of Corona, the whole COVID matziv to the mabul it's like an obvious zushtel, right? The only thing that has, so clearly affected the world, to such an extent that the whole entire world, yikum, right? The entire world is, totally affected, and it affects every single oifen of life and every single way we think and what we do and whatever. Since the mabul, there's never been such a thing. Right? So then if that's the truth, if that's the case, so then we have to start looking at this time period with much more achrayistic eyes and much more, not small-minded. We have to realize this is a seed. The situation we're in now is a seed, which means that in this situation right now, there's a lot of people that are, they formulate opinions about every single thing and every single, so then you're planting a seed. You're planting a very ugly seed. Right? And if you're somebody that's gonna, filled with sinna about every single other person, it's a Peldik Maisa. Some people they're confused. Pasha. There's somebody who was one of these chevra that was very, very not makbid originally, and then all of a sudden they became very, very makbid, and then they went back to being very, very like they get confused. Pasha. They just want to kach. They just want to kach. They're creating such an ugly seed. It's such an ugly seed. Everybody's bad, because today he read this stupidity and that stupidity, and this person is very intelligent idiot, right? And every day it's a different person, and you're planting a very miserable seed. A seed that's going to, what do you think is going to happen if every single day you come into the house and say, the rabbanim that said this, and the this, or those people that say, you're going to teach your children to hate Jews, right? We hate Jews, right? And especially when you start saying it's like, with all types of ethnic terminology, like, the Hasidim, right? Or all other types of, right? I'm always afraid that what to say, because there's somebody who's going to be watching and he's going to take out, he's on this team, right? He said it like that, like that nusach, right? I'm also confused. I also don't know, right? Or the seed of lying, all these things going on now. That people with the saggers and the not saggers, right? The most dangerous thing in the world is that a child should ever learn that we could lie, even when it's mutter. You're planting a seed. It's the most dangerous thing in the world. There's nothing worse. The child to be a liar. You have to. It's a pachat chadam. You have to look differently at things. I know that Ramat Shlomo has been in the news lately. The only place in the whole entire Middle East that's in a sager is my hometown of Ramat Shlomo. And now we're out, Baruch Hashem. Right? It was quite shocking. Why Ramat Shlomo? Right? At first I thought they made a mistake because they're Ramat Shlomo, Ramat Eshkol, and Ramat Eshkol, But then when Ramat Eshkol got taken out of the seger and Ramat Shlomo remained, right? It's like it's a major thing. What's in Ramat Shlomo? There's so many Corona cases. Is there? So I looked into it. There was a meeting of the Rabbanim in Ramat Shlomo. So I go to just hang out and schmooze with them also, right? And they like me. I say jokes also. They invite me, So I was listening. So there was an asking there, and he was talking. He said it's unbelievable the amount of cases in Ramat Shlomo. He showed, with the numbers and everything. He said it's far, far less than all the other neighborhoods that are not in the seger. It's just a cappella. So everyone there was saying sorry because Ramat Shlomo you can close off. It's very easily to close off, and they have to show something politically and this and that. So this asking said something about it. He said, listen, I'm telling you, I know what goes on. Those guys that know what goes on, right? So I'm telling you, I know what goes on. He says, Ramat Shlomo is, I'm telling you, this is what he said. He says, Ramat Shlomo is just, it's a bunch of easier people. They're simpler people. They're not going to fight, and they're not going to whatever. And the police are going to get to the police. The police are going to say go home, and they're going to go home and whatever. And they're not going to cause too much trouble and whatever. Mashenkin, everywhere else, they're nervous. In this neighborhood, you have these people, that. They know Ramat Shlomo is a good place to make a saga because they're going to listen. Of course, it's also political and whatever. So they have to do it in a certain place, and they want to do it where it's going to be easy, right? They ain't no burning garbage cans in Ramat Shlomo. There's easy place, right? And so all the Rabbanim are listening to this and saying, such a chutzpah and such an azus, it's takazik, chutzpah, azus. Now it's my turn to speak. I said, you should be Simcha Rabbah. You hear what they just said about us? They just said that this is a moiridik and malkim, people that have good midas, and people that don't fight, and that people that aren't going to lie, and that people aren't going to cheat, and they're not going to this and that. Okay, so they're taking advantage of us, right? But don't ruin that. Don't ruin that. That's more important now. More important than anything else More important than anything else is to not lose so the same thing in the matzav that we're in right now, in this whole situation right now. It's a seed. It's a seed. So what you can, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. That means they're telling you have a beautiful community and a beautiful neighborhood. So don't ruin it. It's a seed for your children, for the future. Shana Rishon is a seed. The next stage of life is a seed. The person goes to work, it's a seed. The first year when he's there, everything is a seed. So you have to remember, Rabbi Yisai, what can come out of that seed. So can say unbelievable murder. But even when there's a little bit off, the mashu off, so then it could come out to just a disaster, just a dreadful disaster. Okay, good Shabbos, Rabbi Yisai. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Ramat Shlomo. Hank, if you love Ramat Shlomo.